You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome back to the Money Hour, 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 21st show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I am your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
This is our last show before Christmas holiday. We're your local mortgage experts, again, right here at 1150 AM KKNW. It is a great day to talk about money, and that's what the show is all about, how to make money, save money so you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, we have Julie Porter of JPorter Business Services. And Santa's got a list for you. I love your title, Julie. It's right in spirit with our Christmas show.
A little sneaky, I think.
It's a little bit sneaky. I can't wait to share these this list with our listeners.
It's the goal is to stay off the IRS's bad list.
Oh, that's I like that. It's going to be a good list. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Julie.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Tina and Keelan. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to come here.
And a little bit about Julie. Julie is a small business specialist. She is on a mission to make the business side of business a breeze for owners. Relentlessly helping, she works with startups, expanding companies, and establish business to development and grow. With over 30 years of business expertise, she grew a small restaurant into a success of multiple profit centers. She is experienced in startup systems, finances, growth, and government, and has helped over 350 clients realize their dreams of being their own boss. Julie's passion is mentoring women, small business owners. She is on the board of the Little Black Dress Party, a nonprofit that supports women and children's charities, as well as a benevolent fund for women in need of legal services. She's the author of 7 Steps to Kick-Ass Businesses.
I love it. Kick-Ass Businesses.
Kick-Ass Businesses.
I like it. So Santa's got a list for you. I assume that we were talking a little bit about the IRS list.
Yes.
Right? So describe to us a little bit about the importance of utilizing a checklist. There's lots of checks and balances when it comes to, no pun intended, boom. When it comes to preparing for tax season. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, it's easy to miss things because most small businesses are dealing with more than one government entity. So you've got the Department of Revenue, Labor, Employment Security, and the IRS, the big guy. Yeah. So a lot of things are happening at year end, and there's a lot of times I'll see someone who will let their business license expire and not know, and then you've got a huge bill to get it reinstated, or you've got just different things that can happen, plus penalties if you don't pay your estimated taxes on time, or if you get audited and you don't have the receipts, then your deductions they won't allow you to take the deduction. So there's just ways I'm a big believer in setting up your business so that you're audit proof. I call it being auditable, bulletproof. And I've gone through a lot of audits with clients, and typically if we've set it up properly, we keep receipts, we do things right, they've pretty much breezed through them without a lot of issues. So, and that's always a good thing. Nobody likes to get letters from the government, so if we just follow all those rules and all the little things that we need to do, we don't get those letters because those are horrifying.
Yeah, I've heard CPAs talk about love letters. They don't seem like they're going to be love letters, but also that removes any emotional stress that they have attached to not wondering if that's going to come up, whereas you can just say, hey, go ahead because I'm good. I'm all set to go. So Julie, where can someone start when getting their finances together?
Well, as a small business, it's always good to start at the beginning and set yourself up. But I talk about you can do guerrilla bookkeeping, which is you just you go in and you follow this list, you bring it together. And then I recommend that you get yourself on a routine for the following year. And if you're not doing it yourself, then find somebody who can help you do it. So it's so many business owners, it's like, this is the one task. We don't go into business to do books unless you're a bookkeeper. But you're doing the thing you love, and that's why you start a business. So meanwhile, all this stuff is churning and your reconciliations are behind, your tax payments are behind, and you're going, I'll just kick that can down the road, and you don't get to it. And then pretty soon the letters start coming in. And I've seen businesses go under because they ignore the Department of Revenue or the IRS. I mean, those guys don't mess around. Yeah. So, you always want to set yourself up, and it's on the business owner to do it right. So that's, one of the things that you need to be aware of.
Yes.
You get that license and there's some responsibility on your part to do it.
Tina, hire out your weaknesses, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
That's what I do. I embrace my strengths and hire out my weaknesses.
Yeah, and you're not going to...
At a very high level.
You're not going to dodge IRS. There's absolutely no way. They're going to find a way to get their money one way or another. So you're just making it worse on yourself.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So what about receipts? I know that's so important that you have some documentation based on some of your expenses so you can go ahead and document that and not have any issues with the men on top, the big old IRS.
Yeah. I have... the receipts are important, and we live in a paperless age, and people like to think that they don't have to hang on to them. But I've seen the statements aren't good enough. You can go to Best Buy and you can buy a computer for your business, or you can buy a flat screen TV, and the IRS doesn't know the difference, so they will disallow that. So you've got to be able to show it goes into your file, and you hang on to it, so you can always prove that's what it was for. And you need to hang on to those things for 7 years, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But all your purchases that are for your business, keep a receipt. If you don't want the paper, scan it. Scanning works great.
I was just going to say, you can scan it and put it in a cloud. It's
perfect. And then, the receipts fade over time anyways, so it's a good way to keep the integrity of the receipt.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
What about tax forms?
Tax forms. Well, you mean all of them coming up this time of year? Oh, yeah. Preparing for it is you've got to get all of your accounts reconciled. So if you have a checking account, it needs to be reconciled.
Yeah.
And you've got to get all of it together. And if you're not doing it, again, you need to get it to somebody who does it for you.
Yeah.
And then all of that needs to be entered into either software or an Excel spreadsheet so that you can track where your money went. What expenses did you have? What income did you have? You're reporting your income, you're reporting your expenses, and you're paying taxes on the difference, which is your net income. So you need to be able to calculate that. And I've seen it, from little paper tablets to nice software. So, it's just a matter of keeping track in some way so that you can report it. And improving. You've got to be able to prove what you did.
Yeah.
Credit to you, Tina. I'm getting anxiety just talking about this because our businesses are so organized. And I have to admit I wasn't as organized, but now I have all this freaking out around things. And you can only imagine if you have all that, your whole business is riding on you putting the effort ahead of time. There's nothing that comes across our desk where we're just not boom, track 2,
right.
CD 2, track 3, boom. We know exactly this means this because the same things happen over and over again, and that's going to be the same with your business, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just getting yourself into that routine, and you can. It just becomes so easy. It seems so hard at first, just like anything. Tying your shoe was a really problem when you were 2.
Good point.
So this is just a matter of saying, okay, every Tuesday I'm going to sit down. I'm going to look at what my income is and record it. I'm going to look at what my expenses were and I'm going to record it. So at the end of the year, it's it's so much fun for me is when I take someone who's a total mess in business. I mean, serious mess. And then you get them caught up. You do that guerrilla bookkeeping, you get them caught up, and then you give them the systems so that they can move forward. And then they're filing their taxes on time for the first time ever. And so that's kind of big that people are able to just bring it together with a quick look. And then they start, I've got to file for my receipts, I've got to file for my government reports, I've got to file for this. And so, it makes them more organized. And then all that horrible weight you have of not being organized, and it's a weight, and people worry about it, and they wake up at 4 a.m. But if you've got this checklist and you've got a plan, then you can move forward.
Yeah, and my listeners know me as your local mortgage expert, but I also have a coaching program that is for my business partners, and in doing a lot of coaching, I always hear of, we got to get our taxes done, and I just think, my gosh, all of that stress that you've had the entire time that you got to get done, you have to get it done, and you haven't got it done yet. Just really a sad way to go through life. So you want to hire somebody, get somebody to do it for you, make sure that you've got those records and you're ready to go. So let's talk, Julie, about employees.
Okay, for employees, if you had any employees in 2019, you're going to have to give them a W-2 at the end of the year, which reports to the government what they earned, what you paid them, and then what you withheld in taxes. So you need to get that together. If you have employees, you've probably got software. And if you don't know how to run it, then hire someone to take care of that for you. And it's pretty easy, but you have to have the W-2s out by January 30th. And so you want to, and most employees, about January 2nd, they're going, hey, when's my W-2 coming through? And so it's nice to get them out earlier if you can. And again, with the software we've got these days, there's no reason why you can't get right on top of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, Julie, what about, and we see a lot of these on our side of the business, profit and loss and balance sheets. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so those, to me, if you're going to have a business, you're in business to make money. And if you're not running a profit and loss, you don't know if you've made money or lost money. Mm-hmm. And if you wait to do that to the end of the year, which it's a great time to do it, but you should be doing this throughout the year. But again, it's that everything that you brought in, all the expenses that you had throughout the year, and then income minus expenses equals your net profit. And I always run it as a percentage of income so that we can tell if one expense is out of whack. So if your rent is 20%, you're probably paying too much for rent. Just basics that you have for different businesses, what your cost of goods sold are. So you review all that and you can make changes. And again, I want to stress it's great to do that on a monthly basis because then you can turn the ship if you have to, and make changes. Oh, I need to charge more for that, or I need to. It's surprising how particularly women tend to undercharge for their services or their products because we tend to just sort of feel like maybe it's not worth what it is worth. And so, we just need to be more aware because you're in business to make money.
Exactly. Yeah. What about the best tip that you can give for preparing for the tax season?
I would say get this paperwork in order between Christmas and New Year's. Everybody loves to get organized during Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. Download the checklist and do the things on the list. Make an appointment with your CPA or your tax accountant and have them go over it. There are penalties if you don't get your estimated taxes in, and they're a little bit substantial. Find out what your liabilities are if you haven't been tracking them all, because say you're late with the Department of Revenue, after 30 days, it's a 25% fine.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is horrible.
Horrible.
Horrible, yeah. So, you just want to be aware, and knowledge is power.
Yes.
So knowing what your profit and loss is, knowing what you're owing, knowing what you're required to do as a business, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Julie, it's a new year, so what about renewal dates on like business licenses, insurance, and kind of your permits and all that, depending on the business you own?
This was my favorite. I finally started doing this myself. And, you need to, I recommend that you calendar the things when your licenses are due. Like some businesses are due 6:30, some 7:30, 1:30. So you know that I need to renew my corporation, renew my business license, two different things. And then when are quarterly taxes due, put that on. When's my insurance come due?
Yeah.
And I've had people, their L&I permits for contracting, it's lapsed, and that's like a horrible thing if you let that lapse. And so, and you get it reinstated, and that's not a problem, but it goes on your record. And so, those things you just want to be right on top of and calendar them, so you know at the first of the month when you check, what do I need to take care of?
Yeah, great information, Julie. Thank you so much for coming back into the studio and sharing with our listeners the list for Santa Claus.
It was great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Coming up next in the Money Hour, blueprint to your financial plan for 2020. Tony Sablon of Ultimate Wealth Strategies, LLC, New York Life, right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.